Go for it.
So I've just started the recording. And yeah, so the idea is to just go through the work plan, because I had a little bit of a IT crisis the weekend. Well, I still have one because my USB with everything on, including our book, Anna, has crashed.
Oh no.
Yes, been a bit stressful, but on there was also the work plan and everything. So, but I've managed to find that in various other places. So I don't know if it's the most up-to-date one, but I'm going to share my screen so we can all see what it was. So, as mentioned, Larissa earlier, this one is from, let me find it. 2016 was the last time that we sort of went through this, so it has been a while. I mean, we've chatted about it, but we haven't finalized anything. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I can see it. Thank you.
So in terms of the steps, I think, so the idea with this call is just to run through them briefly, but I'm going to send it out to everyone in the group again to add more detailed comments, because I really want to get some more structure to the group this year, and particular projects we can focus on. I mean, I think the guidelines are going to be the main one, but any other little projects. So the first step 1, 2, and 3 have all been done. Then step 4 is the just going to be ongoing. That's just emailing relevant information as we go along. Then the list of activities. So that's the work plan. So that was meant to be in July 2015, so we're very far behind. But the idea now, I'd like to finalize this by the end of February. I'm going to just change that. Please just comment as we're going along. Interrupt me or.
Okay.
I mean, do you think that's realistic? What are we now? The 20th. So 10 days to have sort of a finalized draft of this work plan.
Presumably you've got a clear idea of it already.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is going to be these best practice, well, not so much best practice guidelines, the technical report that we discussed in the last call. So you were on that call, and I did chat to Anna about it in our exco, the fact that we're going to rather go with the technical report than the best practice guidelines to try and speed up the application process. So that's the main gist of this group, and I think will require quite a lot of coordination. So I think for me, that's the focus, step 6.
Yeah, so for maybe for 6, 7, and 8, I would just to make it clear to change it to technical guidelines instead of best practice guidelines. And then I've got I just filled in one of the technical guideline proposals for Barbara's economics guidelines.
Okay.
And it's quite straightforward. So depending on how the table of contents is coming along, I don't know how it's changed since I last saw it.
Not a huge amount.
Have you had
I'll share that with you now. Do you want to see that now?
Yeah, or even you post it into your working group notes if that's easy.
Yeah. Quick thinking. Let's see if we can. Well, this might actually go a bit too much, but I'll try.
Whatever's easiest for you.
Table. Might come across a bit funky. No. Oh, wait, it is slowly loading. Oh, I don't think you're going to be able to read that.
Okay, the format's gone a bit funny, but.
Oh, it's gone. Oh, wait, let's see. Let me do that quickly. Okay, that should be.
Oh, okay.
An idea of the main sections. Description's not that important. But yeah, introduction and impacts of tourism, which would obviously go hand in hand, and reference, it won't be as detailed as the best practice guidelines. The rest of the sections are more important. So the types of benefit sharing, general guidelines for engagement, guidelines for government, NGOs, private sector stakeholders, and then the summary of stakeholder process.
Okay. Okay, so.
Gone. I've got a real groovy, whoopsie one now.
Let me.
Okay, so these guidelines, have they been commented on by the group?
They have.
Sorry, the table of contents. They have.
Okay.
So are they effectively final?
No. So I want to do one more round of comments because I didn't get that many, and so I want to just try and do it more formally so that we get more. I just think this needs to be very clear for me so that we make sure that like as many people are engaged so that we get what we need out of it, or that people get what they need out of it more. And
then what are you aiming in terms of length for the overall document?
No, that I haven't. Also need to, when we have the idea of what needs to be included, do a rough draft more related to.
Okay.
But
so just to borrow a bit from Barbara's economics guidelines, she was quite lucky because she had some money to bring people together for a workshop before the outline was finalized. So that was quite useful. But what she's done is each chapter, like the introduction is 2 pages, and then every other chapter is no more than 10 pages. And then that makes it quite manageable for people to say, yes, okay, I'll do that section.
Yes.
To lead it and so on. Because it's not, like writing 10 pages might take, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours altogether for the first draft.
No.
So if you're planning to have different people writing different sections and then them edited,
yes,
then just to make it into bite-sized manageable chunks. And then that also fits with the WCPA's kind of updated plans for guidance documents, that they should be short and snappy and manageable and easy to read.
Okay, no, that's great. Thank you. No, that's great. So yeah, what I'm going to do is after this, sorry, Clarissa, can you see the guidelines or not so well?
I did, and then it went wonky again. So anyway, just go ahead.
Okay. So I will share them on email with everyone. So, and I will in the email describe what we're looking for in terms of. So the actual table includes a list of potential contributors, and then there is more to that section on case studies. So we've had quite a few people who've asked to add case studies to that. And is that allowed in these guidelines? Little text boxes more than case studies.
No, the technical documents are much more flexible than the best practice guidelines. So yes.
Okay. Good. No, I think that'll be great. Just adding that. So yeah, that'll be, yeah, I do have some quite nice ones from all around. And yeah, we've got, as Kelly's very keen to get quite involved in this, and then so maybe the 2 of us will run with it and then get other contributors depending on interest in the different sections.
Okay.
But I agree.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of information from your journal special edition that you can generate for this. And then who is the target audience for your guidelines or the technical document?
Yeah, that's why, so the chapters we've done, one for government, NGOs, private sector, and then other stakeholders on how to engage. So it's not for communities per se, it's for other stakeholders engaging with communities around protected areas.
Okay, so is it a guidance document for protected area managers or for any practitioners? Just so I understand.
Yes. No, I think we need to be clear on that. The moment includes all of them, but maybe we should just focus on protected area managers and maybe have a little section on the private sector and other stakeholders.
You know what might be nice, and apologies for it might be going back a step, is actually to circulate a really tiny survey to WCPA members through Kathy and the others and say, look, you're planning on doing this document. This is your current table of contents, and you want to know from the members of WCPA, and doing a demand study like we did for the CBD guidelines and things, and ask them what they want in it.
No, great idea. Thank you.
And just because the more closely related the content is to what WCPA want, and if they feel they have ownership on it, the more likely it is to go out. And we haven't done that with the economics one, and I think we might have missed a trick.
No.
But given that you're at this stage and you haven't finalised it yet, it might be a useful step.
No, I think it's great. I think the more input we can get and make it more useful, that's great idea. Thank you. Sorry, there's someone else on the call, 31003.
Wendy Annika from Sandparks. I didn't respond because I didn't know if I'd be available or even possibly in my office, but I am. So I just took the risk of coming in. Is that okay?
Perfect. No, thank you.
Wendy,
Just giving you a number, not a name. Nice to have you on the call with us, Annika. So on the line, we've also got Clarissa, who works part-time for Auxilia and various other projects independently. And then Anna Spenceley, the TAPAS chair and also independent consultant. And then myself from Wilderness Safaris and vice chair of TAPAS as well. So Annika, I don't know when you joined. Sorry, I just saw that you are now. So we just...
Yeah, I just came in on the conversation where Clarissa was suggesting that you circulate a small survey. Is this the document? Is this guidelines for protected area managers on
community engagement?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd like to put together a sort of short technical document on engaging communities in protected areas and tourism. So yeah, Anna was suggesting that we send a survey to see what people would like in this technical document. So essentially best practice guidelines, but we're not going to call them that because that process is quite onerous to get through. So we want to make it a more snappy, sharp technical document that's easy for people to use.
And Sue, just thinking out loud, is it worth inviting Brian Jones into this writing group as well, because he's writing community engagement guidelines for transboundary areas in SADC. And so materials that he's been writing could well be integrated directly into this.
Also a great idea, thanks.
And you were at that workshop with him as well, so you know the kind of things that were coming out of it. Yeah. Yeah,
no, I mean, and the huge amount of the resources in that, it would be silly to duplicate that. So no, that's a great idea. And then yeah, obviously through the process we'll also look at any other guidelines that are available and reference those. So Annika, I don't know if you saw in the chat section there's a link to a Google Doc that has the minutes that we're working through and adding notes in if you want to open that. Then, so just going back to the work plan.
No, I didn't see it, but I will try and see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you see the screen now with the work plan on it, an Excel, a Word table with different colors. Can you all see that now again?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is update the sections to 5, 6, and 7, and 8. And
my connection is extremely unstable, so if I disappear, that's why.
Okay, no problem. Where are you based, Annika? No. No, so I'll update those and timelines and try and send that
Cape Town.
Okay.
In Takai, in Table Mountain National Park.
Oh, lovely. And then update that and send that out before the end of the week. And I'll, if you don't mind, can I liaise with you in terms of the email survey?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, Anna, I was just asking Anna if she wouldn't mind if I just liaise with her for the email for Kathy.
Yes, I'll type it in here. Then we've got it.
Thanks. Just to get that wording right. Then in terms of the work plan, we were hoping to organize a workshop on benefit sharing specifically. That will obviously depend on funding. But I think perhaps it would, I know, to chat again with GIZ in terms of, these guidelines they're doing with Brian, so that we can tie in with that maybe going forward, because essentially it is also about that, but not specifically tourism, but see if we can align something.
What is Brian's surname, and what is he doing exactly?
Jones. We've written his name into the notes, the online working group notes, if you can see those. So he's been contracted by GIZ to write community engagement guidelines for transboundary protected areas in SADC. So he facilitated a workshop at the beginning of February in Joburg, and they brought together a series of people from transboundary areas in the region to basically help guide what would be the content of those guidelines. So, I mean, these guidelines that this group is envisaging is for all kinds of protected areas, not just transboundary ones. So there'll be a lot of material and insight that he has from SADC that could be applied within these guidelines. So I think he'd be kind of a valuable asset to the writing group.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also his community engagement in TFCAs in all forms, so livestock, agriculture, everything. So ours would focus on specifically tourism in protected areas. So it would be, there is tourism included in those guidelines as one section, but I think to take what he's doing and just flesh it out a little bit would probably be the ideal.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent. And I think it would be great to go back to what was written in the forthcoming Monster of Best Practice guidelines as well. Yeah. So you go back to that chapter on the community engagement, the one that's nearly finished, and kind of identify the bits that need fleshing out in more detail, because these guidelines should be kind of supplementary and in more detail and expand on the key issues that are in the overarching guidelines.
Yes, no, I agree. Yeah, I think just to make it very specific, I think this technical document can take from those two and then just flesh out the sections. Then, so the workshop, I'm not going to put in a date because that'll obviously depend on funding, but ideally it would be great to have a workshop possibly halfway through this, or otherwise at the end to launch them. I don't know what your ideas would be.
I think having a write shop is incredibly valuable, and I think it would be good to liaise with Barbara about how much the workshop she hosted cost. And she brought people from all over the place to Germany to, I think it was 2 days we had together. But it was incredibly valuable, really, really, really important to do it. And actually, it was only during that meeting that we allocated people to chapters. So the people who are interested enough and can make time to get to a workshop, even if their expenses are covered, are the people that you want writing it.
No, I think that's true. Definitely want dedicated people. Then the rest of the sort of work plan is mostly ongoing things about sharing information, updating databases and the IUCN portal, and just trying to keep information updated everywhere. But I'd like to, and I will, when I email this work plan out and ask for inputs, I'm going to be specific about, instead of saying all members, I would like to allocate like the social media stuff to one person who then liaises with the group to make sure that it happens. Because I think if you put all members, then everyone thinks everyone else is responsible and no one does it. Do you think, is everyone happy with that approach?
Yeah, sounds sensible to me.
So each
I don't know if Anna's still with us, but showing her mic is off.
Yeah, she might be.
And Annika seems to have dropped away.
Yes, I see she's disappeared. Yeah, so what I'll do is suggest that we have a sort of a coordinator for each step who can manage that process and then move forward with that. But, as I say, I'll send it out before the end of the week, and then we can try and get cracking with a few of these steps and moving forward and selecting people. So the step 9, the special issue that Kelly and I were editing, that will come out this year. And then I think it would be a good idea to think of any other publications that we can possibly look at for, you know, something else to add on. So please give that some thought.
Okay. And just remind me, who's the target audience for the technical guidelines?
Yeah, so I think that was partly what Anna was saying in terms of doing the survey to see, you know, what's needed. But I think the approach should be that protected area managers and private sector tourism operators who are operating in protected areas. So I think those should be the two. I'd included in the guidelines NGOs as well, but I think that should just be an add-on as support. But I think the focus should be for protected area managers and private sector tourism working, you know, in protected areas. So to guide them on the best approaches to communities. To try and, so I mean, the idea is to improve benefit sharing, and how do you do it in the best way.
Okay, good.
So in the
close to my heart.
good. So we're going to have you write a few chapters.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure how up to date I am with it all, but certainly benefit sharing. I started a community Mokoro polling initiative in the late 80s in Okavango. It was even before the first sort of land use plan that came out, and at the time it caused quite a stir because people got quite, not locals, but operators got quite upset about the idea of communities earning direct incomes, and everybody thought that they were going to lose out on their slice of the Okavango in those days. So yeah, anyway, I'm not sure how up to date I am with what's actually happening in all the places, but it's benefit sharing is definitely something I'm very enthusiastic about.
Okay, no, that's great. I'm just sharing a new screen here so the objectives of the guidelines, which I'll also copy and paste into the minutes now. This is what we sort of decided on when we started this process. So you can have a look at those.
Okay.
Just putting that into the minutes. So yeah, really to share best practices and learnings, and describe the roles of stakeholders and positive examples. But I think, do we add here? Yeah, and specific.
Yeah, you've got the Mara Community Conservancies. Cecilia is very involved in that.
Oh yes, who was that said they were going to?
You've got Judy.
Judy said she wouldn't mind. So these are just the sort of text boxes that people, when we initially started the process, said they would be interested to write. So we got quite a diverse, you know, global interest.
Okay.
So I think I'll ask for that again and send, you know, see how many more we can get.
Okay.
Great. So just going back then to the agenda. So yeah, I will send out that work plan and the best practice, or change that to the technical document for comment, and I'll put quite a lot of detail in terms of what we're looking for, and then I'll liaise with Anna for the survey, so that we can try and move all of those forward. And then just for the next call, I chatted briefly to Kevin Mearns about doing a presentation, or to Louise Schwemmer. I don't know if either of you would like to, but I would like to. It went, I think, Clarissa, you were on that call. The presentation from Dillis was really interesting, and I think there were a lot of learnings.
It was very informative.
So I really would like to get that going. So what I'm going to try and do is prepare sort of a timetable, you know, for the year, if possible, as much as we can, so that we have those planned and sort of quite structured, so that everyone can learn.
Sounds like a good idea.
And then I was just thinking now, actually, maybe it would be a good idea to do a little survey of the communities working group, just to get an idea of, just very short, because I know everyone doesn't have time, on what people would like to hear about and learn about, and then we can sort of try and connect people. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. But Anna, are you still with us? You look like you are, but it looks like your mic's off.
Sorry, it wasn't meant to be on mute. Yes, I'm still here. I'm thinking and typing.
Yes, I can see you typing furiously. So I thought I'd just do a short survey. I haven't really ever done one specifically for the working group on, what they would like to see, have presentations on in these calls, and then try and connect, people I know who are doing that sort of thing, so we can have relevant ones. But yeah, Dillis's one was really interesting, and I think it would be nice to plan those for the year ahead.
And is it worth also planning a webinar of some type to add into the sort of external outreach through Tiago? If you want to have a webinar on perhaps this issue of the guideline, the technical document on benefit sharing, and then I think that would be great, and get a couple of speakers from within the working group who you think would be good. And I think that would be nice. I think that would build things, because it's nice. Like I didn't catch the presentation by Dillis, but I think that was good, and she, for example, would be interested in reaching out to a wider audience. Then we can go to the 10YFP to promote another one, or simply do a TAPAS one with Tiago.
Yes, I mean, as I said the other day, 10YP definitely wants to do more, so I think that will certainly get a huge reach. So we need to see how we can move that forward. I'll chat to them and within the group as well.
And then with the meeting, with the presentation you had from Dillis and other ones you've had, are there web links that we can be sending to Jeremy as the communication coordinator, so that he's sharing those far and wide?
Yes, so I did put them in the extra notes the other day. We've only had the one that we recorded now with Dillis, so I only started this sort of end of last year, the presentation. So, but yeah, they will be recorded going forward, and I want to try and have one every 3 months or so the rest of this year. So.
It would be really nice if we start developing a library of those.
Yes, I think having that one YouTube channel with TAPAS videos will also be great. So people can find them. I'll chat to Jeremy about that. What will work best for him.
So just as an aside, Jeremy asked me to circulate a template for all of the working groups, including this one, to put in targets that will link to the annual plans. And I don't know if you've shared, Sue, the part of the annual plan that relates to your working group.
With the group.
But it would be good to discuss with the group, and also discuss that template with the group, and basically collectively help write it. And because I'm sure you'll have a lot of useful input from people on this group. You've got a lot of members, 57 members of this group. It's a lot.
Yeah, not that many active ones. So I've actually added in here that I want to check the membership. So I'm going to send out that table and just ask if people just want to confirm that they do want to, because I have a separate mailing list. I always send it to the whole TAPAS group, but then I send it to the communities group specifically as well, so that it's more targeted. I want to make sure that whoever's in there is active. So I'll do that. Great. No, I think we've got through a lot. Only just 3 of us. And I see you have some Costco toolkit. Do you want to?
Any other business?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So just as an aside, but directly related to this group in particular. Cecily Christensen-Smith and myself have been helping UNESCO to develop a tourism and management assessment toolkit, which is supposed to be an online tool available to World Heritage Site managers and managers of sites that are on tentative lists. So this is currently in the development phase. So we had a workshop in Paris last month with a group of people working on World Heritage Sites, and including TAPAS group members, to try and hone in on getting this tool ready. So at the moment we're kind of at a draft phase, and there will be a review now. So I will request from UNESCO that the review also goes to Sue, so that Sue, you can circulate it to your group.
Perfect. Thanks.
To get more input at this stage on content. I think that would be useful. I'll check with them. I can't guarantee that, but let me check with them, because I think that would be helpful. And then that will be pilot tested. It'll become an IT version, and the idea is that the site managers will input information relating to the outstanding universal values of their sites, environmental issues, cultural issues, community issues, and it will kind of churn out a spider diagram to help site managers get a snapshot of where they are now in their performance, and also give them ideas for interventions for how they can improve in the future on various elements. So that's kind of for information of a work in progress, but I think it would be great to engage this working group in particular on shaping that tool.
Well, that sounds very interesting. Great, thanks, Anna. Anything else? Clarissa, do you have anything you want to add?
Not at this stage. I still feel that as a newbie in the group that I'm feeding my way forward, but I'm sure I will chirp in due course.
No, it's great having you on these calls. And yeah, as I say, last year I didn't get to do much. I had a bit of a crazy year. So this year I really want to drive a lot of these activities and get this technical document out. So will be a lot more activity going on. So wherever you can jump in, that would be great.
Will do.
No, if there's nothing else, then yeah, thank you both very much for joining. And I will share all those documents before the end of the week, and also the recording. And I'm going to send out a doodle poll and do a couple of options for the next 2 or 3 calls, just so that we can try and set those ahead of time, and the presentations as well.
Excellent.
Super.
Great. Thank you very much, Sue.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Clarissa. Have a good evening.
Bye, Anna. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.